Imagine waking up one morning and deciding not to eat for a while. No breakfast, no snacks, and maybe skipping lunch too. It sounds like a big challenge at first, but many people around the world choose this path for different reasons: health, culture, religion, or simply to test mental strength. This practice is called fasting, and it sets off an incredible chain reaction inside the human body. The first few hours might feel like any normal busy day when a person forgets to have breakfast. But after about 8 to 12 hours, the body starts to realize that no new fuel is coming in, and it gradually shifts to burning stored energy. Think of this as switching from a regular power supply to a backup generator. In this case, that backup generator is glycogen, a stored form of glucose, which lives mostly in the liver and muscles. When glycogen is used up, the body looks for the next source of energy. This is where fat begins to enter the picture. Recent studies highlight the body's ability to move into a fat-burning mode faster than once believed, which is one reason many people find fasting an appealing method for managing weight. Once the body moves into fat-burning mode, it produces ketones, tiny molecules made by the liver from fatty acids. These ketones serve as an alternative source of energy, especially for the brain. Many people who practice fasting or who follow low-carb diets report that their minds feel sharper and their moods improve once ketosis begins. However, this transition does not always happen smoothly for everyone. Some experience headaches, fatigue, or irritability as the body adapts. Over time, though, most find that these symptoms lessen and the benefits become more apparent. Fasting also triggers something called autophagy. Think of autophagy as a built-in cleaning system that recycles old or damaged cells. This process might offer various health benefits, including potentially slower aging and enhanced cellular repair. Now, hunger is usually the biggest hurdle. The body is used to routine meal times, so around breakfast or lunch, the hormone ghrelin might surge and cause that familiar rumbling in the stomach. This can be quite uncomfortable, sometimes rated a 6 or 7 out of 10 in terms of difficulty. But the surprising secret is that ghrelin often rises and falls in waves. Once the wave passes, the hunger subsides, and it may come back later. One practical tip for handling a fast is to pay attention to electrolytes, minerals like sodium, potassium, and magnesium. These minerals can become imbalanced when there is less food intake and more water consumption. If electrolytes drop too low, fatigue, headaches, or cramps may occur. Many experienced fasters keep a small amount of salt or an electrolyte supplement on hand to mix into water. This can make the difference between rating a fast as a miserable 3 out of 10 or a comfortable 8 out of 10. People often underestimate the importance of these minerals, so thinking ahead can avoid unpleasant surprises. Interestingly, some individuals with mild joint discomfort report that their pain decreases after a day or two of fasting. However, it is important to remember that fasting is not a cure-all, and each body reacts differently. Those with specific medical conditions need to consult a professional before trying any prolonged fast. Let's not forget about the spiritual or cultural aspect. Many traditions around the world use fasting for spiritual reasons. Whether it's Ramadan, Lent, Yom Kippur, or other religious or cultural practices, fasting can be deeply meaningful. Some people speak of a feeling of heightened awareness or a sense of accomplishment. That's not measurable by science, of course, but it's a big part of why fasting has been around for centuries, maybe even millennia. If you decide to fast, you might find you have more time on your hands that you'd normally spend cooking or eating, which can free you up for reflection, prayer, or just daydreaming about how good your next meal will taste. The next little secret has to do with refeeding, what happens after the fast. Let's say you've made it 16 to 18 hours, and you decide to break your fast. You sit down to a bowl of soup or some light meal. Suddenly, that food tastes like the best thing you've ever eaten. There's a reason for that. Your taste buds can become more sensitive, and your body is primed to absorb nutrients. In fact, refeeding is a critical period because you don't want to shock your system by stuffing yourself with a huge greasy meal. That could upset your digestive system and cause discomfort. Some people break their fast with bone broth, a small salad, or something light. This helps your digestion ramp back up slowly. Now you might be wondering, is fasting for everyone? The real talk is that it's not. People who are pregnant, breastfeeding, have a history of eating disorders, or certain medical conditions might need to avoid or heavily modify fasting. Diabetics, for example, have to be extremely careful. Also, children generally need consistent nutrition for growth. Let's talk about the difference between intermittent fasting and a proper fast. Intermittent fasting is like dipping your toes in the water every day. skipping breakfast, or eating in a shorter window. Many people find it easy to fit into their lifestyles. Proper fasting, on the other hand, is more like plunging into the deep end of the pool for a whole day. It requires a bit more planning and caution, but it can lead to deeper states of ketosis and autophagy. Some people do it once a month or a few times a year. They often say they feel a sense of accomplishment and mental reset afterward, which they rate extremely high on the achievement scale, but they might do it less frequently because it's a bigger challenge. Another big question: does fasting slow down your metabolism? Contrary to old beliefs, short-term fasting doesn't necessarily tank your metabolic rate, especially if it's done correctly. Some older studies suggested that extreme calorie restriction over a long period could reduce resting metabolic rate. But newer research suggests that intermittent fasting might not have the same negative impact as continuous calorie restriction. In fact, your metabolism might stay steady or even get a little boost from the increase in certain hormones, like norepinephrine, in short-term fasts. Of course, if you go on a super long fast for many days, or if you're fasting improperly, that might change. But for the typical 16-hour or 24-hour fast, the rating for metabolic safety might be around 8 out of 10 for most healthy people. Let's address a sneaky side effect: constipation or changes in bowel movements. When you're not eating much, you're not getting the usual bulk or fiber from your meals, so you might notice fewer trips to the bathroom. This can be surprising. Staying hydrated is crucial here, and some people even choose to have a bit of black coffee or teas that help keep things moving. One more hidden fact: sleep patterns can shift during fasting. Some people have reported that they need less sleep. Others say they initially experience insomnia, but that goes away after the first night. It might be tied to how your body is dealing with energy usage or your changing hormones. This could be an area that deserves more thorough scientific investigation. Now let's talk about the mental game of fasting. Some say that the hardest part of fasting is not the physical hunger, but the psychological habit of eating. We're so used to breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks in between that skipping these can feel emotionally challenging. This is where mindfulness and purposeful distraction come into play. Some people find that engaging in light activities, going for a walk, or reading a favorite book can help pass the time. Ultimately, fasting reveals that the body is incredibly resourceful. Left without an immediate influx of food, it does not shut down. It simply switches gears, tapping into stored energy and activating hidden maintenance systems. Through this process, some discover better focus, improved awareness of hunger signals, and a calmer relationship with food. Whether it is done for tradition, health, or personal exploration, fasting shines a spotlight on the complex, adaptable nature of human physiology. By merging ancient practices with modern research, fasting continues to capture attention as a potential pathway to better health and a deeper understanding of the body's innate wisdom. This is all. Thanks for joining this fasting adventure. Stay curious, stay healthy, and see you next time.